posing because I really like my shirt today. It's got a tail on it and everything, right? It's so cute, and I looked at it and I was like, can you carry that off? And I'm like, hell yeah, I can carry it off. I'm trying to make my hair 80s big too, you know?
Did you lived in Louisville at one point, right?
I did. I lived here when I was like, I think I was like 12 or 13, and it was the big city for me, because I'd only lived in like southern Mississippi and Alabama before that, so I was like, oh, Louisville, it's like New York. But it is a really cool city because I studied at the Louisville Ballet, so I did a lot of ballet here. I think I was in the Nutcracker, like one of the kids in the Nutcracker, and I did, I was a prostitute, number 4, in Sweet Charity, which is a musical here at the Louisville Community Theater, so at 12, that's appropriate. But it was one of the...
12?
Yeah, it's community theater, they'll take anybody. My mom was fine of it. And then my mom worked for Ross Perot. It was like an election year, and I remember her putting me on the corner. So my mom's a kook, if you hadn't kind of read my book. Anyway, so I have a lot of memories from Louisville, and it was really transformative because I got to just study a lot and be... you know, I felt like I was in the big city. I felt like it was real cosmopolitan.
It opened up your eyes.
It made me want to get the hell out of Alabama. That's what it did. I was like, I'm never going back.
So you spoke briefly of a book here, just for a minute. You have a new book that came out.
It came out last month.
Embrace
2 months ago.
Your Weird?
Oh wow, Embrace Your Weird.
Yes.
It's a brand new book, yeah. My first book, You're Never Weird on the Internet Almost, was a biography, so it was all about me. And so last year I was looking for a new project to do on the side, and I was like, well, so many people over the years have told you that you've inspired them to start creating or get help for depression and anxiety, and I was like, I want to do that for other people. So Embrace Your Weird is a workbook. It's a lot of writing too. I talk about procrastination and fear of failure. It's kind of like an interactive guide to kind of just getting cooler, kind of. It's designed to let you be a more creative person, but in a funny, geeky way, not in like a real, like, grab your crystals kind of way. Like, that's not my deal, man. Although I do have crystals in my house, but they're in a tiara.
Does the crystal thing really work?
Oh, yes. No, what?
I don't.
It's a rock!
I'm asking you, do you have those?
Are you anti-vax too?
No, I'm not.
Vaccinate your children, please. Vaccinate yourselves and then vaccinate your children. I promise you. Nothing bad will happen, only good things will happen, okay?
I just wanted your stance on the rocks. I didn't know if you had a firm stance on the rocks.
Just for the record, some people cannot do vaccinations, and that's why we all who can get vaccinated need to get vaccinated to protect them. Just to make sure I'm not condemning anybody who can't get vaccinated. Okay. What did you ask me? Because I was just trying to make people not feel unincluded.
No, that's very nice. I was just curious if you had a stance on those rocks. Like, I didn't know.
Rocks? Are we back on this thing?
Yeah, I'm really curious.
Okay, listen.
So you have them,
yes.
but you don't think they work.
I mean, I have them in a tiara, like it's a headpiece. It's not like I think.
Like they're in the tiara.
Okay, it's just a tiara. It's not like oh, I'm gonna put my quartz tiara on because I'm feeling negative energy today. Do people do that?
Does anybody do that?
I think they probably do that. I'm from LA, they do it.
You've seen it one too many times.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty bad. Right now, there's sort of this weird blowback in LA where people are like, yeah, I've talked to my aura reader, and it's like, Friday's not a good day to have a meeting. And I'm like, is this for real? And they're like, why? Yes. It's for real. Everyone, like, and meditation is wonderful. Like, I talk about that in my book. Like, you know, if I personally, whenever I meditate, I can sleep better. I have a little app on my phone, and I do 15 minutes, and I think I feel better about myself. Like, it really does work, and I will endorse that as like insomnia or stress or anxiety. It helps. So that's kind of different, but then it goes to the extreme where people are going to aura readers and healers, power healers, and there's a place called House of Intuition in LA, and it has like it sells crystals and tarot cards and all that stuff, and I love that stuff for fun, you know, because I'm a nerd. Like, what supernatural episodes have crystals and stuff, like, you know, Buffy, right? There's a little aspect of the nerdom in there, right? Nothing wrong with that. I like to read tarot cards. But at the same time, they have seminars that are just like really like, honestly, like how to do alchemy, like changing lead into gold. And I'm like, I'm going to pay $20 for this just to see who these people are.
You don't want to learn, you just want to see everybody else.
I'm kind of a looky like that, yeah.
I don't blame you.
That's a good Friday night. Anyway, let's go. What else is going on?
Let's go ahead and get to some questions because we do have a lot of questions right here, and I want to make sure we get to as many as possible. So, first question right here.
Yeah, you've been on several shows, you know, from Eureka to Supernatural. Would you like to be on Seth MacFarlane's The Orville or any other show that's on right now?
You know, that's the number one show that everybody thinks I should be on. I'm not kidding. Nobody's ever like, you should be on Game of Thrones. I'm like, we all know I'm not British, okay? Also, that show's over. Which is one of my favorite shows. I'm on, okay, if I were going to wish to be on a show right now, it would be, The Orville would be great. I mean, I've been, like, after I had my baby, I got back into unitard fitness, okay? So I'm almost unitard-ish fit. That's basically my standard in life, because I love Star Trek The Next Generation. Are you in unitard, shape? No unitard? Because you'd not want to get in a unitard if you're not in unitard shape. The Orville would be great. I love The Watchmen. Does anybody watching Watchmen? Not that many, right? I wonder, like, why? Like, I think it's too inside almost, but I kind of love it just because I love the actors in it. Like, Looking Glass is, like, kind of hot. Is that weird to say? 5 people got that reference. Okay, we'll move on. I'd love to be on What We Do in the Shadows. Anybody watch that? My friend Harvey was on The Magicians, which I was on, and then he's like the assistant on that show. And if I ever had like show FOMO, it's that one. I just want to be on that show. Nobody watches it, but it's the funniest show on TV. It's about vampires, but it's just really funny. Watch it, check it out, guys.
What?
It's on FX.
FX, okay.
It's real dirty, so it's not appropriate for children, but it's really funny. So, yeah. You sold you? I'm not even on it. I sold him a show. Great.
You sold him.
Tell them to hire me.
I will.
Okay, great.
I'll call them.
All right, next question. Bye. What's up?
Yeah, good. Hey.
Just curious, is there any chance we're going to see Charlie one more time?
Thank you for that question. Okay, so the last season of Supernatural is happening. I hope I didn't break that to one person who's currently sobbing. I would love to be back on Supernatural one more time. I was on season 13 twice and 14 once. They're bringing back everybody. Kesh got to come back, so if he can come back, I should be able to come back, right? Osric was on, right? I saw a tweet the other day that Kim was on there, Sheriff Jody, and I saw that Jim Beaver's was doing it. Am I spoiling people? I'm definitely spoiling people now. It's only from the Twitter, okay? So they spoiled me first, and then I'm just passing the spoil along. So I think they're bringing back a lot of different people, and I can only hope in my heart that I get to come back. It would be sad for me, but I don't have a control over it. I have not been asked back yet, but they have many episodes to go before the end of the year, so cross fingers that 2020 brings my dreams come true, and Charlie at least gets to say goodbye like this, you know? That would be awesome.
Should we tweet it out? Should we tweet it out? Would that help?
Tweet it out what? What are you going to tweet out?
Do we want you back?
Oh yeah, definitely tweet me out. Tweet it out, guys.
Yeah.
Tell Supernatural to bring me back. I think Eileen is on, Shoshana is on, and I think she's on next week too, so that's exciting. They're doing such a great job of like integrating all the characters the fans love throughout the season. Just as a fan of the show, I really admire the showrunners and everything. And I'm not just sucking up to them to have them bring me back. Only a little bit. Next question!
Yes, I was wanting to know what it was like playing Charlie and what it was like working with Jensen and Jared and Misha, and if they're really as cool as what they seem.
They're awful. They're really awful people. They throw donuts at people's heads. No, they are so wonderful. I have to say, you know, I was off the show for a couple years. There was a time, seasons 11 and 12, I was not in the show, and it was tough for me to be watching the show go on without me, which was fine. You know, I'm not a regular. But when I got to go back on and I saw the same crew been there for like 15 years, y'all, I started crying because it really was like coming home. Charlie was only supposed to be one episode. They never hired me for more than that, and they never really intended her to go on after that first episode. But, you know, the chemistry between me and the guys, the addition of a diverse woman on the show and someone who resonated with the fans was really impactful, and so it's kind of you guys' fault in a sense. I have you guys to thank for Charlie, you know, surviving 7, 8 seasons. And here's a true story. I got offered that show when Geek and Sundry, my company, was launching that month, and so I didn't feel like I could leave because this big thing I've been working on depended on me, and it was launching the next month. But then I read the script and I was like, well, I gotta do this part. The part is amazing, but also Supernatural's been on 7 seasons, and it's gonna be canceled this year, I know it. I literally said that to my agent, I was like, so I gotta do this job. And because Buffy lasted 7 seasons, I was like, it can't go on longer, and it did. It went on twice as long. And so, yeah, I didn't get to work with Misha on screen as much as I would have liked, but I know him personally, and he is as genuinely wonderful on screen as he is off. So thank you for that question.
Next.
Hi. So Jared and Jensen are usually playing pranks on people on set. So I wanted to know what was the biggest prank they pulled on you?
Well, okay, I get this question a lot. Jared and Jensen, I don't know if this is true for all women, but they don't generally prank the ladies as much as they do the guys. I never got pranked. They were always really respectful. They would tease me a lot, because like Jared was like, the way I hug people is very appropriate. I don't like our pelvises to touch, so I kind of hug people like this. You know, I get a little I want some pelvis length here, you know what I'm saying? That's just respect. You don't want to go like this, right? But then Jared makes fun of me. He's like, hey, F. You know, and he gives me a hug like this. And I'm just like, I don't need your weird London Bridge hug, man. So they tease me like a little sister, but they never pranked me. And I didn't understand this whole pranking thing until I went, and one of my last episodes as old Charlie was with Misha. And then I saw how he lives, and it was not good, y'all. Like, Jared was giving Misha a wedgie during a take where he had a close-up. So like while he was filming, and then they were doing off-camera stuff, like they were just like off the camera when you're looking at them, and then Jensen was giving him a wet willy, like just wet foam going in his ear, and like he's trying to act. And I turned to Misha and I was like, how do you do this? He's like, I don't know. So I'm just glad, I hear that Alex gets the brunt of it now, little Alex who plays Jack. And he kind of deserves it, so it's funny. Thank you.
Next question.
Okay, so in the first non-supernatural question, we lost our girl Penny at the end of Dr. Horrible. And I'm sad, because I love Penny as a character. I love Dr. Horrible as a villain. If Dr. Horrible could find a way to bring Penny back, could we get a Dr. Horrible 2, and would you want that?
I mean, I'd never say no to good jobs, so yes. I would never say no to revisiting a world that means so much to me and my career, and just personally, because I love Joss so much. He's really the biggest mentor in my life. I would not have a career without him and his support. Neil and Nathan are just as well, like amazing friends and co-workers, and Marissa and Jed, who ran Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for so long, they wrote it, and Zach. So it was a real family, and so to be able to revisit that world would be, I know there's so many more stories in that world they could tell. If I were to come back, I would certainly be a pest and say they needed to bring me back. A lot of people say zombie Penny, but I'm more of a robot Penny fan, because I feel like the makeup would be cooler. Do you know what I'm saying? Like zombie makeup is so gross, and like, I'm already pale enough to be a vampire, so vampire Penny, look at that. It's blinding, it's shit, like this. I could like, if somebody attacked me in an alley, I'd just go like this, and then they'd be like, ah, my eyes, and then I'd run. That's my defense mechanism. So I would be happy and be so grateful to be a part of it again, and I wish they would revisit it. I wish they would. So thanks for that question. They're busy doing fancy stuff now, like, you know, HBO shows and Marvel stuff. Blah. Hey!
Hi. I love Dr. Horrible's Cinema Monologue, and my question is, what's the most difficult thing of going page to screen?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. You know, I don't know, I'm not a big crier in life, but when I read Dr. Horrible, I cried at the end when I died. I mean, I didn't even see, when I was reading it, I wasn't reading as if it was me, I was just reading it. And it was so touching in the way that they wrote it. It was so beautiful. Like, for them to accomplish that in 45 minutes is really, it's so underappreciated, that show. And so, yeah, I think just Penny is just a lovely character, and I feel like I was so privileged to play her, and I think it's just the music that makes it universal, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you make good music, it doesn't matter how long, you know, my baby loves Wizard of Oz music, and so I'm like, this is gonna be 100 years old when you're an adult, like, but it's still like universal, so yeah, I feel like it's really special.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I forgot half your question, but oh well.
But the answer was good.
Okay, good. I gave something. Hey.
Hi. What was your favorite part about playing Charlie in Supernatural?
My favorite part about playing Charlie was, well, I love the LARPing episode because I got custom leather pants. And you guys don't know about pants until they're custom leather pants. You know, leather pants can look real sketchy on you, I gotta say. You look like a biker person, you know, like it's fine to be a biker. Like, they can either like squeeze you up too much, or they can chafe, or they make you sweat, and these were like the perfect pants. I know I just talk about these pants too much. They did not give them to me. I asked for them. It's okay. Hopefully they auction them off or something. Anyway, but I did get the painting of myself, which is weird to have a 5-foot painting of yourself. It's inappropriate. I put it in the storage unit. I kind of want to hang it over my mantle. But anyway.
You should, yeah.
I should, right? You would do it.
Embrace it.
Listen, I went to the National Gallery in Washington, D.C. a couple of days ago. A lot of people, it's amazing. A lot of people had their picture painted, right? They put it over their mantle. I'll do it for Christmas. Anyway, being Charlie, I think, you know, just playing Charlie, just being, because Charlie's a more confident version of me. I think I'm more confident now, but at the time when I started playing Charlie, I wasn't that confident. I was more of a codex from the guild. And so, thank you. I mean, she's pretty great too. She's the closest to my heart of anybody. But Charlie made me a more confident person because as the series went on and I kept coming back, I became to be more empowered physically. So she was really empowered mentally, but the physical transformation she went through, being around the guys, was really empowering to me as a person and as a character. And just being a lesbian character was really, it seems to be very impactful to a lot of people in this world. And it always goes to show me that, you know, the idea of representation, people kind of use it as a word that, you know, they just kind of, they dash it off and they don't really absorb the fact that if you can see yourself in a different, in a fictional character on the screen, you can feel more confident in who you are. And so that's why it's important to show all different kinds of people on the screen so we can all not only feel included, but also understand each other more. You know, and I think Charlie bridges the gap for a lot of people, and that is important in the world. So thank you.
Hey, my name is Frank Clausen. Sorry, what is your favorite monologue from the guild that you had to do?
Oh, thank you. This is, actually, I wrote all of those. I think there's one, my favorite, there's a monologue, and I don't know which season it's from. I honestly don't. It might be 4, but Codex says something about like wishing on a star, and then she turns around and there's a jump cut. She's like, "Wow, the stars are being sticky little bitches tonight, huh?" And that was one of my favorite lines I ever wrote because I just thought it was so funny. So that has to be my favorite one. But there's so many good ones. You know, I like the one where Zabu was in my monologue. I liked it when we did the webcam, but then we would kind of like break it up with other people. There was one during season 5 when they're at the convention, and like she's doing it from the hotel room, and everybody's just sleeping everywhere. That made me laugh a lot. So yeah, I feel like, you know, the guild is something that's so close to my heart, and I still own everything, so I could do something else with it. But it's hard because I ended it in a way where I'm like, okay, it's over, and I'm really proud of the ending because it's like satisfying, but yet doesn't end things that you liked about the show, and I think that's really hard to do. But at the end of the day, it's like if I were to bring the show back, we don't really have guilds like we did back then, right? The World of Warcraft is not what it was, so I'd have to kind of reinvent it. And I'm like, I keep second guessing myself. I'm like, well, will we lose something we love about the show if they're not playing a video game together all the time? So I don't know. I'm kind of monologuing right now, aren't I? It's not as exciting when it's not edited.
You were just at the Smithsonian.
I was at the Smithsonian American History Museum.
Yeah, did you see something there?
I saw my outfit from the guild there. You guys? Yeah, I actually came here 2 days early to go to DC because my outfit from the Date My Avatar video, Codex's outfit and her staff, was accepted to the collection of Smithsonian Museum. And this is not, I didn't even know actually how big an honor this was. They actually get offered TV show stuff all the time, famous things all the time. They turn it down because they have such limited space to keep things. They only accept things that are culturally significant, they think, and represent something that no one else represents. And for the guild, I was like crying when the curator told me this. They really thought that not only was it something that represented gamers, it also represented new media in a very interesting way. It represented women in a way, asserting their voices in geekdom, which was kind of like a pioneering thing. And also the whole internet stuff. So it was just turning the corner on the same, if you guys go, it's at the American History Museum that has like Julia Child's kitchen, it's got Batmobiles, it's got a whole comic book collection. And they're always changing exhibits, but the ruby slippers from Wizard of Oz are just recently on display there, and right around the corner is my outfit. And when I rounded the corner to see it, I genuinely started crying. Because you're just like, I recorded that song in a closet singing to a guy's socks. Because we didn't have the money to have a real recording studio, so I just recorded in Jed Whedon's closet. And it was like 2 feet by 2 feet. It was a tiny little apartment closet. And so it really just, every step of the way in Hollywood, I've had to fight to be where I am. I never was accepted in a way that I felt accepted for myself. I had to show people who I was and insist on being accepted. And I feel like I did everything the hard way. We had no money, to make the show ever. And to see, this thing in a museum forever, it'll be on display forever, rotating. It just is like, wow, you did something, Day. My mom's really proud. So thank you.
That's why you're inspirational. Like you said, you fought for everything. You fought for everything.
Well, that's kind of why I wrote this new book, right? Because if I hadn't fought for who I am, I would have tried to conform more. I probably would have gotten a nose job or all these other things to try to get hired in Hollywood and being rejected for who I am. And the more I tried to change myself, the more unhappy I became. And I realized, I'm betraying who I am and trying to conform to what these people want from me. And I don't even know if they want that from me. Why not just be myself? What is the worst thing that could happen? They don't like me? Well, I'll be happier just being myself. And so when I started making things outside the system, I knew that I was doing the right thing. And it wasn't as if I ever expected to be in the Smithsonian or even here. I was just doing something that made me feel like I had meaning in my life and I was being confident in who I was. And that's why I wrote the book. It's like a workbook to be able to get yourself through a lot of the things that hang us up, like procrastination or fear, fear of failure, or confidence, and just really having faith that who you are is enough. And what's the worst thing that you could have in this life than to love yourself as you are? There's really no downside, right?
Right.
So anyway.
We all thank you for that. I mean, look at this. All these people.
I hope so. I think it's really important.
Love you for you.
And there's fart jokes in it too. It's not all deep, okay?
Oh, fart jokes.
Yeah, fart jokes too.
Oh, you can't have a book without a fart joke, right?
Listen, if you don't have a fart joke in a book, it's not a book.
Write that down. Next question.
I really agree with that. I've always thought that if you're going to go down at the end of the day, go down for being who you are, at least that you don't have regrets.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
My wife and I, she's Dr. Forrester, I'm Joel, so we're
Yay!
Mystery Science Theater.
Mystery Science Theater is amazing.
It's such a long coming thing that finally reviving it. Did you get a chance to work with Joel and Kevin Murphy, and how instrumental were they in the revival of it?
I didn't work with Kevin, I worked with Joel, and I have to tell you, if you watch any of that, I was in season 12 and 13 of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and it was one of my greatest things that I loved as a kid. I was like 7 and 8 years old, and I'd watch the episodes with my brother. It's the only time we weren't fighting. And the only reason I got on the show, you guys, is because my brother is an even more mega fan of the show. And I saw Joel in the green room of another con in Salt Lake City, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a selfie with Joel Hodgson and rub it in my brother's face. So it was all spite. And so I took a photo with him at a spite, and then we got to talking, and then he sent me an email. It was like, you want to be in the new show? And I'm like, wow, I was a dick, and I got hired for something. I got rewarded for being terrible. But then I got to play Kinga, and I was like, oh, I'm a terrible person. So it kind of works out for everybody. It's great. And Joel has that, hey Felicia, I was just thinking. He has that real Midwest quality to him, which is wonderful. But when he talked to me, he'd like, hey Felicia, I get chills. Because I only knew his voice from as a child. It was so iconic. I just startle every time I hear him because it felt like he was coming out of my television. So, anyway, it's a wonderful show. I really hope we get to do more somehow. And just, I guess stay tuned because we don't really know what's going on. Joel's on tour for 6 months, so I think he's kind of waiting to see what happens there before doing the television show again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question.
I was wondering what your favorite line was from playing Charlie.
I mean, wow. I think I love Nut Up Winchester. which is a really good line, nut up Winchester. And also peace out bitches is the thing I write on all my photos. I'm sure some of you came and got a photo earlier, and I always write that on the Charlie photo because I'm like, if you're gonna have a catchphrase, you gotta embrace that catchphrase. And so I got what's up bitches, peace out bitches, ding dong bitches. There are a lot of good etc. bitches, and I'm like, I could go on forever. There's no lack of fun catchphrases that Charlie could have, so I think those are my highlights. Thank you for asking, bitch. But in a way, like, it was a friendly bitch,
Yeah,
right?
loving way, loving way.
Didn't come out quite like I wanted to. Sorry.
I like it. It was a friendly bitch.
It was a friendly bitch, okay. Hey, what's up?
How you doing? It was really nice to meet you yesterday.
Thank you, thanks for coming by yesterday. It was a fun one.
I was wondering what your favorite memory was for working on Supernatural as a whole.
This is a good one. I have a really good story from one of the episodes I did was playing good Charlie and evil Charlie. Does anybody remember that? Okay, so that was a good episode. A couple of things happened that episode. So I came back after being off the show for like, I think it was like 8 months, and I had cut my hair off, and they wanted me to play 2 versions of myself, but I wanted to come back as good Charlie with long hair and evil Charlie with short hair. My own hair was short, but you can get hair extensions, just clip them in and you have longer hair. So I told the makeup people, I'm like, yeah, can you have some hair extensions for me? I went up there, they had these extensions that were so bad, they were so ratty looking, that I put them in my hair and Jensen was like, whoa, you look like a chemo patient. Not exactly that, but anyway, it was something like that. And it looked so thin and scraggly, I was like, I can't do this. So that's why good Charlie has short hair in that, because I intended for her to have long hair, but I should have bought my own hair extensions because it was like a last minute thing and they couldn't find good ones that were matching my hair. So that's one good story. Not good story. Second story, that episode has all the good stories. Second story is the little yellow beetle that I drove, the little bug that I drove in that car as good Charlie. That thing had no floor in it. Actually, a fan bought that car and then repaired it, so it's really nice now, but at the time, literally it was Fred Flintstone. You could like see the ground underneath the car as I was driving. I was like, is this safe? They're like, no, but just go. So that was also, and then the third story from that was so funny. There's a scene where I'm in the bar with Jensen as evil Charlie, and you know, I'm supposed to be a badass, and I'm like, and in the script it's like, Charlie steals Dean's shot, throws it back, and with a smirk. And so here's a secret, I never did a shot before, like ever in my life. I'd seen people do it, but I'm not a drinker. I mean, I'll have a cocktail like once in a blue moon, but I've never done a shot. So during the coverage, the camera was on Jensen, so I'm like next to the camera, but you act as much as you would because you want the performance to be real, right? You give it 100%. So I reached over with a look in my eye and I took the shot and I went, and it spilled all over my face. Like down my chest, my chin, and like, it's not on me, so I'm not gonna cut. So I just kept going. And Jensen is like the most professional actor you've ever been in your life. He's so good at everything he does. And all he did was look at me, and his mouth went, like it just twitched, he did not break. Until they went cut, he was like, what the F was that? So he teased me for months after that. That was like a whole season worth of teasing. With that stupid, like, he was like, are you kidding? You've never done a shot? Anyway, I was like, eh. Anyway, those are my stories. Anyway, bye.
Was it a real shot?
It was water. No, you can't drink on screen. So they have like, if you ever see, it's watered down Coke, or it's like caramelized water or something like that. They have fake. Or if it's a beer, they give you an El Duels, which is wretched. Not a big beer fan anyway, but fake beer is like, it's the worst of everything in one cup. Hey, what's up?
Hello, my name's Jake.
What up?
I fell in love with your work from The Guild and Geek and Sundry.
Thank you.
And my wife also fell in love with you and your work from Supernatural.
Oh, thank you so much.
My question is really my wife's question. Do you have a favorite episode of working with the boys on Supernatural?
I love that LARPing episode because not only was it fun and the costumes were amazing, but I just think they looked so rad in that last episode, you know, with that last scene where they're running Braveheart style down toward the other, you know, the LARPing. They were doing a LARP and they're like, Jensen's dressed like Braveheart and Jared, and then Jensen bit it. I don't know if that's on like a gag reel or something, but he slipped in the mud and just bit it. And everybody would play that on slow-mo on the set because somebody got it on their phone. It was so classic. And just, it was fun. It was just so great. I was on a real kale diet, so, you know, I was unhealthily skinny, which looks better on film, which is terrible. That's why actresses have problems, because the film does add weight to you. That's why if you ever meet people in person, you're like, I could break you with like a twig. I don't have the self-discipline to be breakable like that. Anyway, leather pants. That's all I gotta say. Bye-bye.
Next question.
Hi, I was wondering what your favorite song from,
Dr. Horrible?
yeah, I was wondering what it was.
Well, my favorite song is My Eyes, and I would tell the My Eyes. It's a duet with Neil Patrick Harris, and so I love that song, especially the chorus where we sing together. And when I told that to the Whetons, they were like, "Oh, we hate that song. That's the first song we wrote, and we think we could have done better, but whatever." I was like, "Are you kidding? That's going to be the hit." And I was so self-righteous and like know-it-all-y. I was like, "Look, it's one of the most popular songs." I'm real annoying sometimes. But that one is my favorite. Just doing a duet is just so empowering, you know? So yeah, thank you. Thanks for asking.
And I also really like that one, especially the ending where you guys are just singing together and sometimes it's different lyrics. It sounds really good.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That character, Penny, was supposed to be very shy, so I sing a lot larger and, you know, more grandiose than that normally. I don't have a huge voice, but I sing more, but they really directed me to be very naturalistic and sort of like shy when I sang. And so that song, I got to let my Felicia out a little bit more, and I really enjoyed that. So thank you. Thanks for asking. No.
We don't have time to sing something.
Hey, what's up?
Hey Felicia, I'm Ryan. That was actually my question, but
okay, great, good one.
Bye.
No.
What was your favorite part about filming Dr. Horrible?
I mean, it was great because it was very low budget, so it was kind of like just shooting on the street a lot. They had permits, but we didn't have trailers. We all just hung out together on set, and I remember one scene where we were doing all the laundry scenes. There was an extra who was a fan, because all the extras were fans, and this extra was kind of an oddball. He was like, he would tell Joss, "No, that's not the way you want to do it." But he redeemed himself later over lunch because he all taught us how to do the Superman dance. You know, Superman, you know, yeah, it was popular that year. I don't know what year it was, 2008 or something like that. And he taught us all how to do that. So we have a video of all of us, like a private video of all of us doing the Superman, including Joss, and it was so funny. So I was like, dude, you're annoying, but you're awesome. That's how, that poor extra. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, hey, what's up? Can somebody help?
There you go, yes.
Yeah.
If you could have any role, what role would it be?
What role would it be? Oh, that's a good role. I mean, I would be, oh boy, I would be Gabrielle in a Xena remake. Or like just around Xena. I kind of love Xena, y'all. It's my guilty pleasure. I mean, it's just, it is so bad. If you go back and watch the first episode of Xena, which I did this year, it is laughable. The fight scenes are just like, but it's still, I was like, haha, I gotta watch 8 more episodes. Like, I was still into it. I mean, it was of the time, it was so awesome at the time. And as a kid, you're just like, whoa, she's powerful, she has this friend. So, I don't know, that world is so fun to me. So that would be my choice. Thank you. Thanks for asking. Good to see you again. Good question. Hey, what's up?
I was wondering what like the emotions were for you whenever you found out that Charlie died, and whenever you found out that she was coming back, even as
Yeah, I mean, those are big emotions because if you're a part of a show that you love, you're just like devastated because you can't go back. And like, it's kind of like you're part of a family and then you're not. But the great thing about Supernatural is you're always part of the family. It doesn't matter what, I mean, Dean has died 9 times, right?
I think it's like 100.
Exactly. You know, at the time I was going through a lot of emotional problems. Like, it was kind of, the time that they told me I wasn't on the show anymore was kind of the time around in my book that I was kind of having a lot of anxiety and depression issues. So it was kind of extra hard for me personally to take that. It kind of was like the one thing that was a lifeline of stability was Supernatural, and so no part on them. It was hard for me to deal with. But the wonderful thing is when they asked me back, I was just so thrilled. And the great thing about the boys is they treat everyone so well, no one leaves the set. So when you walk on set, it's like 5 years goes by, you know, you're 5 years ago because everybody's the same. And so that's kind of the wonderful part of that, I have to say. I would be so blessed if I could just, even if it's just a cameo in the background, I would love to be Charlie one more time before the end, just to be a part of the family. Thank you.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey.
I'm also a big Mystery Science Theater fan like you. I thought you did great on the show.
Thank you.
I was just wondering how involved you were with like the writing process and like the movie selection. If there were any movies that were too bad to even watch on the show.
I mean, I don't have any input in the movie selection. That's all Joel. Like, he is like iron fist. You know, he's very much in creative control of everything. As far as writing on the show, I wrote on 4 episodes in the first season, season 11 or 12. And then this last season, it was 6 episodes, and I wrote on 1. I got the flu and I couldn't work on Mac and Me, which I will always rue the day, because Mac and Me is so terribly, horrendously awesome. So I'm sad. I wrote on Killer Fish, which was wretched. And you know, when you write on one of these shows, they have this cool format where you kind of watch it on the computer, and you do 15 minutes a day. And so you watch 15 minutes, but it takes 4, 5, 6 hours to do enough jokes for 15 minutes. It's really hard, because if you're watching a movie, you'll come up with 4 or 5 really funny jokes as you watch it. You have to come up with one every 30 seconds. And so some 30 seconds are just wretchedly bad. And you're like, I don't know how to make this funny, this sucks. And then you watch it again, you're like, oh, he's wearing jean shorts. Those are terrible, I can make a joke about that. So it becomes a little bit easier, but I loved being behind the scenes and in front of the camera. That's my dream. Like, I love, you know, that's why the Guild, I just got to do everything on that show, and that's why I don't really kind of stay on one series for too long, because I just like doing my own thing. It's probably less lucrative, it's less famous, but at the end of the day, I have to sit down and say, what makes you happy, Felicia? Do that, okay? You know, because everything else will just happen. So thank you, thanks for asking about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.